My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now.
I'm Geraldine Carrier, the author of the upcoming book, Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity.
A book can be more than just stories. It can engage your audience, create opportunities, generate leads, but only if you have the book work for you.
BCBtv presents Message to Millions, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions.
Everybody, welcome to Message to Millions, Author Spotlight, where we spotlight authors and get their message to millions. My name is Edwin Zapata, author of the Amazon best-selling book, Your Next Step, New Tools for Financial Abundance Now. And I'm here with my co-host,
Geraldine Carrier. I am the author of the upcoming book, Wild Woman, Master the Art of Pride, Presence, and Productivity.
So today we have a special guest with us today. She has 14 years as a college coach. She's been this includes Division I, and she's been Coach of the Year. She's had 3 All-Americans, 30 All-Conference players, and she is a speaker, coach, trainer for John Maxwell Team and John Gordon Companies. She has a following of over 50,000 people. If you go to her website, rlopezcoaching.com, you can get a free special report. Now, our guest today, she is the author of the book, Looking for a Full Ride, an Insider's Recruiting Guide. She is none other than the one and only Renee Lopez.
Yay! Thanks so much for having me today, guys.
Thanks so much for being here with us. So I want to jump right in. You have so many, success stories, tips, tricks, and tools to pass on to our listeners. And I wanted to just jump right in and ask you the first question, what has been the most interesting part about becoming an author?
Wow, it has been so transformative in terms of what I do on a daily basis and, being able to help and impact people. I think that's been the coolest part about the process is, I had been a college coach for a long time and I knew the X's and O's. I knew the college recruiting process. I now help, kids through the college recruiting process, how to get an athletic scholarship, how to be able to take their skills to the next level. And it's been so fun to be able to see success stories for people just following what I outlined in my book. And then, what we do in our blogs, what we do in our Facebook group as well. And just being able to see people's lives transformed. And it's been so fun to see the journey where you are being able to impact tons and tons of people. And I do it all from my house. It's phenomenal.
Renee, I wanted to ask you this because I've noticed this and I'm honestly not surprised. Anytime I've ever heard somebody that's been an actual coach, like a sports coach or some type of athletic coach, they become the most powerful speakers and trainers. And I, of course, it makes sense because you're delegating a team and you see things positioned a certain way. For those that are listening and maybe they don't have the proper structure, what would be one piece of advice that you could give to the average person that maybe they don't see because they're not in an athletic environment?
I think, as an athlete, you learn your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm 5'2". I was not very good in the air as a soccer player because I'm 5'2". But, I knew my strengths as an athlete and I also know my weaknesses. And I think that's important as an entrepreneur as well, knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at and being able to bring in a team of people to help you. Now, people always say, well, I don't have the money to do that when they're first starting out. And I always say to them, just find a way, whether you're trading, maybe you're trading coaching for something, or maybe you're just finding other avenues. I use Canva online and I use in order to do some graphic design things. Graphic design is not my skill set, but I find ways to do that. Otherwise, I hire people to help and it can just be contractors. It doesn't have to be that you hire a full team, but the idea is find things that you're not good at. Find people to help you with that and make sure that you have a mentor, like Jerry Robert is for all of us, and being able to help support you in understanding the things that you don't know. Because as an entrepreneur, you don't know everything. I can tell you, I walked into this process. I was a coach. I knew X's and O's. I knew things on the field. I knew the recruiting process, but I didn't know the marketing side of things. I didn't know the ways to really reach an audience. And so I really had to learn from mentors, but also to bring on people to work with me to be able to help push my business to the next level.
Beautiful. I love that. And again, off camera, we were having all these amazing conversations because, of course, we're so excited to, catch up with each other. It's been a while, Renee. And I wanted to go into something you had mentioned on, in our conversation, which was, broadcasting yourself. Blog is what you said, right? So why is it important for us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, to actually show up in that way?
It's so huge. It's funny that I started that and I kind of thought it was going to be kind of this off thing I was just going to do and then nothing would come of it. One of my blogs got shared 6,000 times across Facebook. And let me tell you, that was something I probably wrote in about an hour. And I didn't know all the techie things to do to make it all, search engine proper and things like that, SEO, all that. I didn't know all that, but I had people that did. And they helped me in getting that information out. And it transformed the number of people that were following me, the number of people that purchased my book, as well as booked me for consulting and speaking events and such. It's funny because people think that blogging doesn't go anywhere. And it really does if you're consistent in it. And you also have the proper setup so that way it will link on to the next thing. So at the bottom of all of my blogs, I have an opportunity for people to join one of our free Facebook groups. And so they can continue being able to follow us and be connected with us. And it has completely transformed my business and what I do and being able to help and serve so many more people than I ever thought I would. And it's funny because that same blog I wrote 3.5 years ago is still being shared all across the country and all across the world. I have people, I'm based in Florida, but I have people contact me from Europe, from Japan, from Australia, New Zealand, and it's been amazing. People are receiving my message because of blogs. It's crazy of how much it expands the reach that you can have, especially if you're trying to serve people in the questions that they are staying up late at night trying to figure out the answers to.
Renee, because people tend to follow trends where they think the internet is going, and I've been guilty of it too. That when you have things come on like Instagram Reels and TikTok, and people start dancing and stuff, I've become a bit of a TikTok star myself, not from dancing, but when you start to see things shift, and people get the idea that blogs don't have the same impact as much as they do. And one thing that caught my attention about how you display yourself is you've been able to use blogs and evolve with it in the way that the market has been developing, and you've just been taking it to the next level. So for those that are listening and are watching that think blogs don't work, they don't go anywhere, what message do you have for them in terms of how much it's changed and how much it can change your business?
Absolutely. I think it's really important for people to realize who your target market is and where they're at. For me, my target market is helping parents, especially of high school student athletes. So where is that target market? Most of them are on Facebook. Most of them are on LinkedIn, a little bit on Twitter, a little bit on Instagram, but not quite as much as what they are on Facebook. And so knowing your target market and knowing how you can reach them. So whether you're posting your blog in a group, you're having your friends share it, obviously just having followers. But the idea is it's going to be able to impact people if they can read it. But how do you get to them? And that's the key, is knowing your audience and knowing who is going to be chasing which avenue of social media. So I'm not a TikToker. I can tell you that with 100% certainty. Not my forte. But the fact is, I do know that the parents that I'm chasing, and I think that are a good target market for me, is especially moms, in those 40s range, and what appeals to them. And so being able to find avenues to be able to reach them. And, we're going to take on a couple of new projects here over the next few months and figuring out what's the best ways to reach people. And one of the things that we're going to dive into is Pinterest, because the moms are on Pinterest. And so we're going to delve into that. And, it's funny, that isn't the case for some other businesses. You're not going to necessarily go down the Pinterest path, but for some people it is. Others people may say about Etsy, or maybe it's something, other things on Amazon. But I think it's important to adapt and adjust to wherever your target market is located. Everyone keeps saying, well, why don't you just get on Twitter? I'm like, because Twitter is pointless for my target market. Most people aren't on there that I'm trying to reach. And so really trying to find where they're at, and then how do you best serve them? Don't put in a situation where you're like, oh, well, this is my story. Instead, it's how can you serve others? How can you lead them? How can you impact them and help their life be better because of something you read that, from you, and be able to help them along the way, for sure.
I love it. Thank you so much. So this is beautiful segue into my next question, which is, my book is all about being a wild woman. That's my business. And so what I mean by being a wild woman is, there's those parts of yourself where people are like, oh, don't quit your daydream. Oh, that's stupid. Don't do that. Right. So in your business, you've actually, you are an athlete, and those are the things that you actually positioned and put together to offer to other people. So how has, being an athlete and coming from that world really helped you in the business world?
It's been fun to really realize how many skills that you learn as being an athlete, how they transfer over to the competitive world of business. They really do. And being able to know that you need to work with people, be good teammates. And also you're going to have different personalities that you had to work with those teammates you're going to experience that in the business world too. But, one of the cool things that I've been able to do, and I'm really excited to discuss if I can just for a moment, is something that's near and dear to my heart. There is an amazing organization called Give Kids the World that is in Central Florida that grants wishes to kids that may not be in a great situation in terms of having illnesses or, maybe in a bad situation for their family. And this organization grants wishes for those kids to go to Disney World and to go to Universal and all the different theme parks here in Orlando, Florida. And the greatest part is that I am part of their running team that helps to fundraise for it. So I've been able to take something that's a passion of mine. I love Disney. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a diehard Disney person, annual pass holder and all. And the fact is now I've been able to still continue to serve people, help them. And I use the running platform to be able to fundraise and give back to an organization that helps kids that, are pretty sick and don't have a great future in what they think of how long those kids will live. So great opportunity to be able to serve those kids and to give them something that's just different. And, that's one great part about being an author and owning your own business is you can have time for your passions, not just sitting and trading hours for money. And instead, I used to teach as well. And so I know what that looks like. You're not always in a situation where you have control of your schedule, but being an entrepreneur, I'm going in a couple of weeks just to go and work an event to help Give Kids the World because it's a passion of mine. And that is a freedom that you have in being an entrepreneur and running your own business and being an author.
I think you touched on something great there. And for those that maybe missed it, what Renee just said is she doesn't work at all. She basically, if you really caught that, Renee doesn't work. She has fun and she's turned what she enjoys doing. She's working in the field of what she loves to do. So she's helping people, she's helping kids, she's changing lives, she's building businesses, she's literally changing the world, and she's having fun while she does it. So it's not exactly work. Yes, of course you are working, but it's not considered, traditional work. You enjoy what you do and you do it with a passion, which then elevates how you display yourself and how you project yourself to others. And I believe that's exactly what you share when it comes to your coaching programs and all that, which, it makes sense why you're able to coach for like John Maxwell and all the other big names that are out there, like for all of these groups, because you've taken things to another level and it really shows, the level of leadership that you have. So well done.
Thank you so much. I love what I do and I love to help families along the way. And it's so much joy. Everyone says, what's your big win? And it's so fun. In our Facebook group, we have every time there's a big signing day where kids sign for athletic scholarships. And, it's a big signing day for the NCAA or NAI. And kids get to sign and they have these pictures at their high school and, hey, look at me, I got this scholarship. And they say thank you. And they, take pictures with my book. They take pictures and give a shout out to what we're doing and saying how much we completely changed their life. And that's my Super Bowl. Everyone talks about the Super Bowl, but that's my Super Bowl day because I have been able to help impact these kids that may or may not have had the opportunities, especially after COVID and all the shutdowns that went on, is they didn't know what to do, what steps to take. And so it has just been an honor for me to be able to help serve these families and see them have success and being able to pursue their passions as well.
I love it. Amazing. There's just so many things that I could ask you, but again, we only have a little bit of time here. I do have a question that I'd like to ask all of our authors, and on this podcast is it's kind of like a secret question that I always have. And so, that old saying, you can teach a monkey how to do many different things. You can teach them to write, to ride bikes, whatever the situation is, but you can't teach a monkey drive. What do you think it takes to build drive?
I always taught with my college athletes, especially, was we believed in 3 characteristics that ran our program: character, integrity, and accountability. And we believed that character meant that you were doing the right thing, and you knew what the right thing was, and that overlaps with integrity and being who you were called to be. And I always believe that, that character piece also means getting 1% better every day. And we use the term Kaizen, which is, actually a Japanese business term of really the idea of continuous improvement. And so I always say to my athletes, what can you do to get 1% better every day? And I think as an entrepreneur, that transfers to you as well in thinking, we have those 3 facets: character, integrity, accountability. Utilizing character, integrity, accountability in what you were doing overall with your business, or whether it was with our team. But the idea of every single day, can we get 1% better, and being able to strive to that next level of Kaizen mentality? Because you do need to make sure that you are driven and you're going to take the next steps, but only you can really impact your future and make that next step. And you can't sit back and just hope everybody does it for you. You really need to take that next step. And that made me learning about social media, maybe learning about some better investments, things like that. But the reality is, as a business owner, you need to make sure that you're helping to serve people every single day, and then figure out the means and the processes around it to be able to support your drive and your goals.
Wow. Beautiful. Edwin?
I'm just totally stunned by it. Yeah, I'm just here, and you just totally blew me away, because I can totally see the leadership qualities that you took from the athletic world, and what you've been able to do and take that into the speaking and coaching. It just shows how you're able to basically bring out the greatness in people. So for those that are struggling out there with their entrepreneurial journey, maybe they're thinking of writing a book, maybe they want to become speakers, no matter what niche that they're in, this shows you that anybody can do it, as long as you have the disciplines and all of the proper structures in place. And that's something that Renee has honestly been able to master and bring out of others. So if you're essentially ready to become the best athlete of yourself, then, Renee is definitely the way to go. I wanted to ask you this: when it comes to those people that are shy, because this used to be me. If you would have seen me 10 years ago, you would not have imagined myself here interviewing, speaking with authors, becoming an author myself. For those that are shy and timid and think to themselves, that's great for others, that's great for them, that works for them, that'll never happen to me. Or maybe these are paid actors and that's why they have testimonials, because I used to think that. Okay, so I'm guilty.
I'm not, I promise.
For the people that doubt themselves, which is essentially what they're doing, those that doubt themselves, what would be a piece of advice that you can give to that person that may plant a seed or help crack that shell to unleash that greatness?
I think it's really key to take a thought that John Maxwell speaks about oftentimes, where he says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And you take that quote and go, wow, okay, so who can I influence? Start with just one. Start with your local community. Start with one group that you can speak with. Even if it's 5 people, how can you serve them? What can you do to serve them? Whether it be in your Kiwanis group or maybe your church or maybe a non-for-profit, how do you help them? For me, it's working with schools and working with travel teams and organizations and being able to help and impact them. And from that, like I said, the blogging helps, the social media helps. But I think the key is can you just start with serving and influencing one person and helping them get from point A to point B, someplace that they would not have gotten to without your help. And so if you have that mentality of, I'm here to help serve them, it's not about my story, but it's about the idea of how can I help move them and influence them to take some action themselves. And if you help them take action, like Jerry helped all of us take action in order to write a book and make things happen, the reality is if you do that, you're going to help serve people and it's going to spread. People are going to talk about it. And that's the greatest part. People ask me all the time, how much do you spend on advertising? And my answer is absolutely zero because it's just word of mouth. And so the idea is if you help serve people, you influence them, take them to another level, people are going to talk about it and people are going to want to know more about you, whether that's your coaching or consulting, whatever pathway you have for your business. If you can have people speaking about you in a positive manner and being able to say that, hey, this person helped me, they're going to tell somebody else. They're not afraid to, just like I'm not afraid to tell people about what Black Card Books has done for me and changed my life. I think you're going to find that same avenue for what other people are going to see of your business. Again, if you go back to leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
I love it. I think that's her message to millions, right? Yes.
Absolutely. That's an awesome message.
All right, Renee, let's wrap this baby up. So do you have anything, again, for anybody that wants to get a hold of you? How can they do that?
Absolutely. You can go into rlopezcoaching.com. That is where we host all of our 40 blogs on the college recruiting process. And if you are a parent of a student athlete who wants to play in college, definitely download for free our special report, Strategies to Emailing a College Coach. Just basically walks you through what you should do, what you shouldn't do, because many teenagers make really bad decisions on that. And then also, if you are a parent of a student athlete, highly recommend that you also join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group has over 58,000 people in it. We have a team of experts that are in there. We help serve families every day, and we are there to help serve you find the right fit for your college fit for your high school student athlete that's going through that process. It's called Educating Parents of High School Student Athletes in the College Recruiting Process. Educating Parents of High School Student Athletes in the college recruiting process. And so you can find the links to those underneath our blogs at rlopezcoaching.com. And we're here to help serve you guys and walk you through the whole process.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Renee. Beautiful.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. And for all of our listeners out there, of course, we have a free gift for you. So go to bit.ly/BCB books, where you can get our Millionaire Mindset book from Mr. Jerry Robert himself. We'll see you guys in the next podcast.
BCBtv. Believe, create, become.